Welcome to a new video of a historical journey. Today, we present to you the fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 was a significant historical event that symbolized the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe and marked the end of the Cold War. Here, we will provide detailed information about this historical event. The Cold War was a period of political and military tension that roughly extended from the end of World War II in 1945 to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. It was characterized by ideological, political, and military rivalry between two opposing blocs. The United States and its allies advocating for capitalism and liberal democracy, and the Soviet Union and its allies defending communism and socialism. The United States and the Soviet Union represented two opposing ideologies, capitalism and democracy versus communism and socialism. This ideological confrontation was one of the fundamental pillars of the Cold War. Both superpowers engaged in an intense arms race, developing nuclear and conventional weapons at an accelerated pace. This arms buildup contributed to an atmosphere of mutual distrust and fear known as Mutual Assured Destruction, MAD. Two military alliances were formed: NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, led by the United States, and the Warsaw Pact, led by the Soviet Union. These military blocs were intended to counteract potential aggression from each other. Tensions led to numerous diplomatic crises, such as the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, which brought the world to the brink of direct nuclear confrontation. Additionally, various proxy wars were fought in regions like Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan, where superpowers supported different factions without direct conflict. Germany was divided into two states: the Federal Republic of Germany, FRG, in the west, and the German Democratic Republic, GDR, in the east. Europe was also divided by the Iron Curtain, a metaphor for the division between communist and capitalist countries. The German Democratic Republic, GDR, was a socialist state that existed in the eastern part of Germany from 1949 to 1990. The GDR was established on October 7, 1949, as a result of the division of Germany after World War II. Following the defeat of Nazi Germany, the country was divided into four occupation zones controlled by the Allied powers: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union. The Soviet-occupied zone became the German Democratic Republic under communist influence. The GDR adopted the socialist model under Soviet influence. Walter Ulbricht, leader of the Socialist Unity Party of Germany, SED, became the primary leader. Agrarian collectivization was implemented, and industrial and commercial enterprises were nationalized. In an attempt to curb the massive emigration of its citizens to the West, the GDR government built the Berlin Wall in August 1961. We will now elaborate on the details of this event. During the 1960s and 1970s, the GDR experienced a period of relative stability, but simultaneously, the government exercised strict control over society. The Stasi, the secret police, played a crucial role in surveillance and repression of dissent. In the 1980s, the GDR faced significant economic problems, including mounting debt and the obsolescence of its industry. Reforms initiated by Mikhail Gorbachev in the Soviet Union, such as perestroika, meaning restructuring, and glasnost, meaning openness, raised expectations for reforms in the GDR. There were increasing protests against the government. Perestroika and glasnost were two key policies implemented by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev in the Soviet Union during the 1980s. These policies aimed to revitalize the economy, reform the political structure, and foster greater openness in society. Perestroika, or restructuring, involved granting enterprises greater autonomy and allowing them to make more independent decisions, rather than depending entirely on central planning. Additionally, some degree of private ownership was permitted, doors were opened to foreign investment, and reforms were introduced to enhance the efficiency of the central planning system. Ultimately, there was a reduction in the rigidity of state control over the economy. Alongside greater political openness, which allowed the formation of political parties and more competitive elections, steps were taken toward increased transparency. Glasnost, or openness, referred to a policy of greater openness and transparency in both society and government. Gorbachev sought to open up the political system and allow greater freedom of expression and debate. Greater freedom of expression was permitted, leading to an expansion of independent media and the ability to openly discuss social and political issues. Decentralization of power was also pursued, allowing greater citizen participation and democratization at various levels of government. Additionally, aspects of Soviet history, including the denunciation of crimes and abuses from the past, such as those committed during Stalin's regime, were revisited. These two policies were interconnected and implemented in an attempt to modernize and revitalize the Soviet Union. However, their implementation also posed several challenges and tensions, eventually contributing to the collapse of the communist regime in the Soviet Union. As mentioned earlier, we will explain in a simple and clear manner the creation of the Berlin Wall. In 1961, the GDR government built the wall to curb the massive emigration of its citizens to the more prosperous western side. The wall became a physical symbol of the ideological and political division between the communist bloc and the Western bloc led by the United States. In the late 1980s, several factors contributed to the weakening of communist regimes in Eastern Europe. Among them were the reforms led by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Furthermore, there was widespread discontent with authoritarian regimes and economic conditions in communist countries. In May 1989, Hungary opened its borders to Austria, allowing citizens of the GDR to emigrate to the West through Hungary. In the summer of 1989, massive demonstrations took place in the GDR, demanding reforms and freedom to travel. Finally, on November 9, 1989, during a press conference, an official from the GDR government mistakenly announced that citizens could travel to the West immediately. This led thousands of people to head to the Berlin Wall checkpoints, and on the night of November 9, 1989, crowds gathered at the wall, demanding to cross to the West. Border guards, without clear instructions and facing pressure from the crowd, eventually opened the passages and allowed passage. People celebrated the fall of the wall with jubilation and joy. The fall of the Berlin Wall not only symbolized the eventual reunification of Germany, which took place in 1990, but also marked the collapse of communist regimes in Eastern Europe. Several countries in the region experienced significant political changes and transitions to democracy. The Cold War came to an end, and tensions between the East and West diminished, paving the way for a more integrated Europe. The fall of the Berlin Wall is remembered as a crucial milestone in contemporary history, symbolizing the victory of freedom over oppression and the end of a period of global confrontation. And so concludes our thrilling historical journey on A Historical Journey. If you found this informative and engaging exploration compelling, I encourage you to make your mark with a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on future historical expeditions. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive notifications and stay informed about our upcoming adventures through time. Furthermore, if you'd like to support A Historical Journey and contribute to the creation of more educational content, I invite you to consider joining our Patreon. With your collaboration, we can continue delving into the pivotal moments that have shaped the world we know today. I sincerely appreciate your time and participation in this journey. Until the next time traveling escapade on A Historical Journey,